Okay, we're really getting down. Are you gonna give me hang today? No, you're gonna give me the late shift. Alright, we're pulling late shift tonight. Let's go. Oh god. You can't just pop in like it's nothing. Hi. After lunch, you ran into Baxter. He was more than happy for an impromptu hangout in your neighborhood. He idly spoke about the first time he bought a shirt online. Apparently, the website hadn't been in English, so he had made do with automatic online translations. His unique fashion sense was eclectic in more than one way. Finding out how he filled out his wardrobe answered some of your questions about his look. He smiled in fond remembrance.
I measured myself multiple times to make sure I could order the correct size. It wasn't as if I'd be able to ship it back if there were problems. But to make a long story short, it arrived in one piece, multiple months later. At that point, I wasn't going to complain. It was a physical object in my hands.
He gestured with his arm for emphasis. As he did, Baxter glanced at his wrist, at a watch that wasn't there.
Anyway, I hope I'm not taking too much of your time with this.
You were currently taking it easy for a bit before you had to get ready for work. You had an unusual closing shift at your job today. You shook your head. It's okay, but I do have to close at my job a little later.
Tonight?
It's not my usual shift, but yeah. You shrugged as if to say, well, what can you do about it? Cove's already working. He's at the old library as an assistant. You considered how much the position actually fit Cove. From what you could tell, he enjoyed it. He has my dream job, man. Despite this town not having a lot of options, he found something good. He tried to work late and have his early afternoons free. Baxter was listening to you intently, and you decided to keep talking. So, well, both of us will be hard at work for the rest of the day. Baxter nodded understandingly. He was more interested than you had expected him to be.
What do you do?
Ooh. I feel like I should leave this up to chance, because none of these were anywhere close to, like, my first job. I guess maybe the bottom one's, like, the closest. Okay, my first job was selling cleaning products, in case anyone is interested in the GirlGotGame lore. So I guess technically, like, the bottom one is the closest to what my first job was. So we'll do that. We'll do the mall kiosk. I work at a mall kiosk. It sells phone cases. He grinned as if you had just said you had an exciting career as a movie star. I wish.
Interesting.
Well.
Now that I know where and when you work, does that mean I should avoid visiting the place at that time? Or should I conveniently happen to bump into you during your shift?
You chuckled at his directness. He really could be straightforward at times. Two more routes. I'll be ambivalent about it, for right now. It doesn't matter to me. You show up if you want. His decision was completely up to him. You honestly didn't care whether you saw him or not. It's cool if you do, it's cool if you don't. He tilted his head with excitement in his eyes.
Then I might have another stop to make on my outing this evening.
Thanks. Your phone alarm started to go off. You needed to start getting ready for work. You stopped the alarm and held up your phone as an explanation. Bye.
Good luck, Molly.
Thank you. He waved at you as you peeled off toward your house. You reached your front door and gave Baxter one final nod before you went inside. Yeah, I usually got ready early. It didn't take you long to change into your uniform. You made sure your hair was clean and gave your professional-looking self a thumbs up in the mirror. You casually went back outside, ready. You felt satisfied at the time. If things went to plan, you would be at work with time to spare just as you liked. You unlocked the family car and climbed in. After you turned your key, you were off to another day of work. You arrived at the building and went in at a leisurely pace. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary that day. Before you fully settled into your shift, you sent a quick text to Cove that you made it to work all right. Your phone buzzed with his response before you had finished stowing it in your pocket. Cove sent back a positive, "You can do it" message that made you smile. You got going at your kiosk. You set your sights on the groups of people going through the mall who looked like they might be approachable. You were required to talk to people and try to convince them to buy. Yep, that sounds familiar. Can you imagine me doing that? I hated that so much. It had taken some getting used to at the start. Some would ignore you while others would politely say they weren't interested. However, occasionally you'd get a bite and you'd reel them into a sale. It's kind of between these two, honestly. I'll flip a coin. We'll see how MC is feeling about her job here. Heads, it's not bad. Tails, I wish I could have found something a little bit better. Hiya! Heads, she's an optimist. Let's go. It was actual work, something that you didn't truly enjoy, but it was okay, and you got paid for it. That made it all worthwhile. Eventually you hit a rhythm, and the rest of the afternoon slipped by. During a slow moment, you heard a distinct and familiar voice. God, he actually came.
Excuse me.
You turned your head and saw Baxter sauntering towards you. Figures. He really did turn up just to visit. Even though he'd asked earlier, you were still a little startled. Hello. Welcome. He grinned with a tilt of his head.
Is this a good time?
Yeah, I'm not too busy right now.
Excellent.
You saw his eyes search the place, clearly never having been before. Baxter stared down at the various phone cases. His ringed fingers tapped on the glass case as he inspected them. Do you need one?
No.
He looked at the cases again and then back up at your questioning face.
Though I could be sold on one.
He leaned on the counter with a smirk and waited for your move. Please? I like that top option. Please? That's great. You know what? I'm gonna go with the top option.
How very polite. I might have to buy a phone case after all. Could you help find one that fits my model?
With that, he slipped back into customer service mode. He raised an eyebrow at your cheery expression. That won't be a problem at all, sir.
Not bad.
Sir, that works for me.
You and Baxter spent a little more time together, chatting about what he should get. Eventually, a decision was made, then he was off to explore more of the town. You were glad he came by. It was a nice break from real customers, but you had to get back to your usual tasks. You checked a clock set high on the side wall. With how late it was time for your meal break. I always was happy to, see a familiar face when I was at work, though. It did break up the day and just kind of added some positivity, so I appreciate you, Baxter. You breathed a sigh of relief and left your station. You found a quiet place to eat that was out of eyeshot of most people and pulled out your phone. You typed out a text to Cove to let him know you were having dinner. You took your first bite of your meal and Cove replied with an okay. Your phone came to life again as he let you know that he'd already taken his long break, but he still had a short one he could take. With him on break as well, he asked if he could call. You were happy for the chance to talk. You'd been wanting to spend some time with him. He was made aware of that and sent back one more text, a thumbs up. Then you got a call. You accepted it as soon as you saw it was Cove.
Hey.
Hey, is that your library outfit? Hi.
Today's been going by really quickly.
Definitely. It felt like barely any time had passed since this morning. All in all, the week itself had been going by fast. Cove laughed quietly.
You should have seen it. When I got to my shift earlier, there was a huge fight going on with the schedule. I just tried to stay out of it. I'm lucky no one else wants to close. It's not something I've got to defend. Some shifts are way too competitive.
He shook his head at the memory. You wondered how the shifts had been sorted out in the end. He didn't bother to elaborate further on his workplace drama.
I hope nothing's going on with you. This isn't normally when you'd be working.
I was open to a change of pace. You could afford to be a little flexible about when you worked. You weren't too set in your ways to get upset about changes. I actually would have been happier with, like, a later shift, honestly. He made a small hum of acknowledgement.
At least we're in the same boat. Though it's not equivalent to the last time we were in the same boat, huh?
Ha ha. Yeah. Baxter showed up here earlier.
Wow. Well... Oh no! It's just too bad I missed him. Super busy with my own work, I guess. It's a shame.
His tone was joking, at least mostly. You shook your head and tried to hide your grin. The conversation drifted off as Cove grew quiet.
I can't stay on too much longer. It's busy.
You imagined he was looking at some kind of clock the same way you had earlier. The two of you had only started to talk, and yet it was somehow over.
Bye.
Bye. The word was flat. He was down about leaving. There was a second of silence before he pulled himself together.
We'll have more time later.
Right. Bye. You let him go and finished up your meal on your own. Just as you were clearing up, your phone vibrated. Cove had found time to sneak you a quick text. Just a few more hours until closing. You smiled as you finished your break. It was time to get back to work. Customers continued to trickle in even though it was getting closer to closing time. Before you could jump back into work, you heard your phone's quiet jingle in your pocket. It had to be a text message, but there was no way you could check it now. Your phone made another quiet noise, making your hand twitch, wanting to check it. Still, it would have to wait. Shaking the distraction off, you quickly fell back into the rhythm of things. There were still plenty of tasks that had to be done. You were unpacking some new pieces, absorbed in the moment when you felt like you were being watched. Glancing up, you saw someone stopping at the counter. Hi, how can I help you? I'm looking for a case with paw prints on it. I saw online that this store is supposed to have it. Do you? They lifted up their phone to show you the model. You knew it and what cases fit for that. Oh, I'll check. Be right back. They nodded and stood off to the side while you scooted around to the other side of the stall. Your eyes scanned the boxes for the case the customer described. You didn't get to look for very long when the echo of fast-moving steps pulled your attention away. Bracing yourself, you could only watch while they stormed right up to your counter. They pushed a cracked phone case in your hands. I bought this here the other day! It's ridiculous! I only dropped my phone once! You opened your mouth to speak, but they started waving one of their hands. Don't even bother trying to sell me a new one! I want a refund! I won't be buying from here again! They pulled a crumpled receipt out of their pocket and smoothed it out before tossing it onto the counter. For a split second, you could only stare at the broken phone case in your hands. You weren't sure what else to do besides give them a refund. There weren't a lot of special guidelines or procedures to follow in this tiny shop, except for find some way to sell stuff. Hastily, you read over the receipt. It was from here, so you went through the process with the customer and gave them their money back. Okay, I was gonna say, if it wasn't from here, I was gonna be upset. They were off the moment they had the cash in hand, muttering about what a waste of time this all was. Taking a deep breath, you tried to relax, but then you spotted the customer you were helping before. You couldn't quite puzzle out their expression, but they were watching you sternly. It struck you that they still wanted you to pick out a case for them. The kind they asked for was one with paw prints. Something? The first sweep of the stall you missed it, causing a panicked chill to creep up your spine. The second time around you found it among other brightly colored cases. You breathed a sigh of relief and plucked it off the shelf. There was still a lingering feeling of doubt overshadowing you on the walk back to the customer, but regardless, you tried to smile. I'm really sorry about the wait. The customer glanced at the phone case in your hand. Their expression softened. That's the one I was looking for. Thanks. Your smile widened while you went through the motions ringing things up at the register. You were glad that you found the right case, and you were definitely ready to be busy doing anything else. Your body was starting to tire out from the busyness of today. Luckily, you had one more short break. You took a seat and finally checked those messages from earlier. There was one from Mom.
Would you mind stopping by the grocery store on your way home to pick up some asparagus and peppers for dinner tomorrow? Can't make it myself. Deadlines are tight right now. Thank you and have a great day.
Such a mom text. Yeah. I didn't mind the request. It could have been a lot worse. Asparagus and peppers. That was going to be a quick in and out. Easy peasy. You answered back? No problem. Can do. You weren't expecting her to text back anytime soon, though you did already get a thanks for it. There was no reason at this point not to check the other message you got earlier. A fond smile spread across your face and your heart fluttered in your chest when you read it. It was from Cove.
Just a few more hours to closing. You can do it!
You knew that Cove was supposed to be busy working too, and yet he still found a moment to sneak in a text. Not a bit of that surprised you. You're so gonna get fired. Same! Cove responded briefly seconds later. Cute. You chuckled, wondering how his day was going in comparison to yours. Yeah, we'll talk after the shift, for sure. Let's try to be good. Talk to you when I'm off.
Yeah.
After that, you slipped your phone back into your pocket. Texting with Cove easily lifted your spirits tenfold, and you felt ready to tackle the rest of your shift. He was always there for you when you needed him, no matter what. The thought brought a warm smile to your face. For another minute, you stretched your arms high over your head and imagined how nice falling into bed later was going to be. Hopefully, your shift would go by in the blink of an eye. You jumped back into the rhythm of things. The last of the customers had finally exited the building. It was time to close. When all the doors were locked, you exhaled loudly. The whole place was officially closed. Relief. It was like you could finally reach the light at the end of the tunnel. There were too many moments where you seriously questioned if you would ever reach this moment. While you were shuffling around in the closed-up shop, you had a call come in. It was Cove. You knew that he had spent the majority of today working overtime. You hadn't been sure if you'd hear from him. You picked up his call immediately.
Hey, just finished. You?
Yeah. I have successfully gotten that money. The words came out as you stretched your free arm over your head. Faintly over the phone, you could hear the unmistakable sound of Cove's chuckle. That brought a fond smile to your face. You were sore and tired, but knowing that there was a paycheck waiting for you made all your troubles worth it.
Know what you're gonna spend your millions on?
Not yet.
Too bad. Are you heading home now?
Actually, I have to run an errand for my mom.
Where to?
The grocery store. Mom texted me earlier asking if I pick up a couple things.
Oh,
Do you think you might want to go with me? It was late, and you knew that Cove wanted to go home, but admittedly you wanted company. He eased that concern by speaking softly.
Sure. Yeah, I can go shopping with you.
It's nice of you to do this.
not really.
I like spending time with you.
Thanks. I like that too. Aw, so cute. Moments later, you had your things together and were ready to swing by the store. You were out the door within minutes. You pulled into one of the many free parking spots at the neighborhood 24-hour grocery store. You waved at Cove when he parked next to you. Dang, you guys have a 24-hour grocery store in your little town? That's amazing. There was a salty smell in the air as the two of you strolled through the dim parking lot. The local burger joint on the other side of the pavement guaranteed the place always smelled like fries. Aw, man, I'd be so tempted. Nice. Your eyes squinted at the change of lighting when you made it inside the building. The automatic door shut behind you. With you truly having arrived, Cove raised his brow curiously.
So?
I'm so glad. I was like, I really hope I get to see you in your work outfit. You look great. I love it.
What are we here for again?
Asparagus and peppers. It's for something my moms are making tomorrow.
Sounds good. This'll be a short trip.
Uh-huh. You idly scanned the front room for a basket you could use. A full cart wasn't necessary. Yeah, I would have had I did the work thing, I'm doing the grocery thing with my best friend. You know, I'm feeling good. It was a recent change that you wanted to fully embrace. You spotted the baskets and caught a glimpse of yourself while looking down to pick one up. You know, it feels funny to be in some other store while in a uniform from a different place. Cove snickered while sidling up beside you.
Right?
It's like we're wearing a costume after Halloween is over. But I just hope no one thinks we work here. The uniform is totally different, but you never know.
That would be terrible. Basket in hand, you ambled towards the vegetable section. It was set near the back, but visible right from the entrance. Cove matched your pace, keeping at your side. The asparagus was simple enough to select. You simply picked up a bundle that looked fresh. All that was left was the peppers. There was a wrinkle in that plan.
What color did they want?
She didn't say.
Then what are we gonna do? The color definitely matters.
It doesn't. We'll get one of every color. I'll text Mom real quick to ask. He nodded, satisfied with your solution. You tried to fish out your phone while balancing the basket. Cove held a hand out to take it. You accepted the help. With both hands free, you were able to type out a brief message to ask about pepper colors. Then you stared, waiting at the screen. Cove hovered nearby to peek over your shoulder. The replying icon appeared, and you felt Cove lean in even closer.
Just the regular green ones.
Is what she sent back.
Alright, that's easy.
And he was right. You picked up the requested green peppers, tossing a few into the basket. Nice. Crisis averted. Produce acquired, all that was left was to go through the line. But as you approached the cash registers, Cove stopped in his tracks.
Oh! While we're here, I want to get something too. I need fruit for breakfast tomorrow. But what should I have?
He glanced back unsurely at the section you just left. Cove, you had plenty of time for that before we were leaving. I can go back to look with you. That coaxed a small smile from Cove. His tension eased.
Sorry.
Thanks, Molly.
It's fine. We can take a little more time to do this. I mean, I'm not in an incredible hurry, and he already came from work to keep me company. It's the least I can do. Cove gratefully led you back to the fruit stands. He let his eyes wander across all the options, seriously considering his decision. Not bothering to rush, you walked up and down the produce aisle for the second time that trip. Finally, something caught his attention. Transparent cases containing fresh blueberries. Cove grinned.
That's it. It'll be perfect for tomorrow.
Great! I mean, blueberries sound good. Despite the suddenness of how it happened, you were genuinely glad Cove was able to get something nice for himself during the visit to the store. It made the trip even more worthwhile. Cove carried his food himself, and the two of you went back to get a spot in line. After that, you completed separate orders for what you were getting. The produce was packed away into paper bags. There was one for you and one for Cove. You both had what you needed in hand. The errand was finished. You walked across the length of the store to reach the doors closest to where you had parked. You and Cove stepped back into the night. Cove lightly swung his bag back and forth in his grip as you peered, squinting into the dark parking lot. He smiled slightly, a gentle expression on his lips.
Thanks for inviting me to the grocery store.
Thank my mom. Thanks for keeping me company.
You're welcome. We should do this again.
Yeah, we should, get groceries together more often. It's very domestic. I mean, it's great. I like spending time with you. What? After a moment of walking further into the parking lot, he sighed mildly. As nice as Cove was about this, he had to be tired after working a full shift.
Oh, it's been a long day.
Yeah. That very brief exchange really summed it up. Cove shook his head to himself, bemusement replacing his worn-down expression.
When did a busy day go from having way too many ways we wanted to play, or having some extra homework, to having to spend all day at a job and then running errands after?
I don't know, but it sucks.
That's fair.
Cove's eyes narrowed as his mouth opened slightly. He was having a thought.
I think?
Your moms need this stuff for tomorrow's dinner, not tonight, right?
Uh-huh.
And nothing's frozen, so you don't need to get it home urgently or anything. would you want to go across the parking lot to that fast food place? We could get something. You know it's still open, doesn't matter how late it is. It might be nice.
You are perfect. I love you for that. You perked up at the suggestion. It sounded like fun. I don't even have to make a choice. My character's like, absolutely. You nodded, but looked at the grocery bag in your hand.
Let's drop the groceries off, then we can go.
You agreed, and Cove strolled over to the cars, buoyed at the thought of something to look forward to. He placed his bag in the back of his car and then walked over while you finished putting up your groceries. With the groceries taken care of, it was a short walk to the burger joint. There were 3 cars lined up in the drive-thru, which wasn't too bad. Nice. You had to go all the way under the building, yes. Around the building to get into the front entrance. We can go through the front door. We don't have to go under the building. But soon you were under another set of bright fluorescent lights. That's where I saw the word under. Luckily, there was no line inside the building, so you stepped right up to the counter. You glanced over the menu. You remembered eating here before with Cove, back when Kyra had taken you both years ago. I was wondering if it was this place. The menu looked pretty much the same from what you could remember. It was missing the mozzarella sticks, but most of the other items were familiar. Hello, what would you like to order?
Yes, hello. I would like one of everything on your dessert menu.
Damn! Hey, you stole my order! I probably would have been like, huh? He brushed a hand against the back of his head and his polite smile for the employee bent.
Mom rubbed off on me.
He was reminiscing on that visit too. After the cashier made sure Cove was being serious, it was your time to order. You got... Aw, yeah. What do I want tonight? I would like a hamburger. With cheese. And I would also like some French fries for sure. And, ooh, this is where it gets dicey. Do I do the soda and then get a dessert? Or do I do the milkshake as the dessert? I feel like a milkshake today. Let's do a milkshake. And that was all. Cove gave you a little thumbs up. He wasn't the only one indulging. You wrapped up the ordering process, paid, got the number 264, then claimed a table. You sat down across from Cove in a booth where you had a good view of the front counter. It was nice to have the pick of the place. Too bad the mozzarella sticks are gone.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I wonder when they got rid of them.
But neither of you had an answer to that question. Then you took out your phone to text your moms about your delay home. You didn't want them to worry. Cove watched you before pulling out his phone as well, maybe for the same reason you did. When the updates were sent, it was back to being just you and your neighbor once more. He offered you a small smile. You okay?
I've missed you, you know. Even if you weren't ever really gone. It's been less time than I am accustomed to.
Cove tapped his fists on the table definitively. He paired that action with a childish pout. If someone saw him like that, they might have assumed he was throwing a fit over not getting the toy that comes with a kid's meal. We demand more time with each other! You dropped your palms onto the tabletop for added emphasis.
Exactly.
He beamed at you sincerely, a ray of sunshine in this late-night food trip. When the number was called, Cove hopped up from his seat before you could react.
Don't worry about it.
I've got it. Save our spot.
I will nod. You stayed in the booth and got situated for the arrival of all the stuff. You checked over the table and moved your phone to the side to make sure there was a clear space. Cove returned with 2 trays in hand, a great bounty of food. He placed them down carefully, being extra cautious with the tray that held his milkshake. What about my milkshake? What about the milkshakes?
I'm back.
Thank you.
It's no problem.
Aww. Yay, milkshake. An apple pie and a sundae. Looks great. Cove didn't hesitate before digging in. He took a large bite of his cookie and immediately sipped his milkshake. Then he took a spoon and sampled his sundae with an approving hum. He made an attempt to follow that up with a bite of his apple pie as well, but bailed with a distressed look on his face. You tilted your head in a silent question.
Hot.
He switched back to the milkshake, taking a dedicated slurp. Cove sighed at the cool relief it brought. You also started to taste yours. It really wasn't bad. In only a minute, Cove's cookie was gone. You wouldn't be surprised if the milkshake wasn't far behind. You flicked a straw wrapper. Yeah. I'll leave him alone tonight. He looked so blissful that you just let yourself be happy for him. He noticed your expression and smiled back at you as he sipped his milkshake. Cove put down his drink after that and cautiously picked up the apple pie once more. He looked it over seriously, no doubt checking the temperature of it this time. He met your eyes with the most serious expression he could muster.
Do you think I could eat this entire thing in one bite?
You snorted, and he burst out laughing as well. You felt so glad Cove agreed to come along with you on the initial grocery trip, and equally happy you accepted his invitation here. A little time off your feet, a little something to eat. You felt more energized than before. Your long shift at work that couldn't have been more than an hour or two in the past seemed like it was a lifetime away now. You continued to chat, mess around, laugh, and enjoy yourselves. For the first time that night, you felt like you weren't totally grown up after all. Perfect. Awesome. I loved that. That was so much fun. So wholesome. Cute. Cutie pies. I love it. All right. We're getting down. We're getting down there. I can't wait to see what happens next.